both sides. We haven't really seen much level 1 play from Mineski or Azubu Taipei snipers, but the early level plays coming out from the Azubu Taipei snipers, especially from Wins, their jungler, has been really effective in snowballing the lanes. We saw Wins just constantly crush Exo, the mid laner. He was playing in the mid lane in the first game, but in the second game, however, we actually saw Wins kind of focus his attention on the bot lane most of the time and just kind of snowball that lane ahead. So I do expect Wins to constantly gank a certain lane. We will have Mineski come in. Whoa, Set may just pull off a death sentence. He does launch the death sentence, forcing Mistake to flash away from that one. You do have Zonda in the bottom half of the map. This kind of signals that Azubu Taipei snipers might be looking for a lane swap. Mistake takes another cleaver to the face, and Mineski having the Thresh with the death sentence, Noel with that Demacian standard, as well as Snoy throwing out the effective cleavers, definitely have that stronger level 1 fight.
Right, and I like what Mineski is doing here, switching up their strategies, and they are the ones to bring in the aggression onto Taipei snipers, and I think this is what they need to kind of bring them here, and playing mind games here as well. So all of them will be teleporting back into base to start off with their usual buffs, and this time around they don't, for Taipei snipers, they don't have any wards in their in the Mineski jungle, so they won't be able to kind of spot them out as which lanes they will decide to go for. An interesting pickup coming in from Set as well. Instead of the usual Ancient Coin, this time he has decided to go in for that Relic Shield, and he will be able to kind of farm out for Exo as well, make sure that he starts to ramp up even quicker than what he used to do before, and we might see Snoy in a bit of trouble as now Zonda and the entire team of Taipei snipers will collapse onto the blue buff of Mineski at this point of time.
Yeah, they will collapse to the blue buff, and they most certainly will be able to take this one away from the Azubu Taipei, from Mineski, and give it away to Wins himself. So DG and Snoy still kind of sticking around, but Wins with that, you know, smite on command, he just hits it and gets the blue buff easily. So they will go for a trade. Snoy does meet Wins once again in the river and just throws a few briefcases into his face. So what's going to happen is that they're going to trade blue buff for blue buff and just walk and do that vertigo jungle that we all know and kind of love actually.
Well, I'm not too sure whether that's the right decision for Snoy right there. Even though he's in this 2v1 matchup, chasing Wins all around the map would just mean that he will miss a couple of experience as well, as we now do see Snoy taking some poke damage from Mistake as well, and the Mantra in the Flame will just effectively create a very huge zone for God JJ to maneuver around, and with the Light Slinger, the passive as well, he will be able to somewhat push this turret very, very quickly.
Yeah, that's right, but having that poke coming out from Mistake so early into this game may cause him to go on a slight little dry run in terms of mana, and he'll just run his mana pool a little bit dry, but being able to kind of poke Snoy out early in this game will definitely allow them to kind of launch that buffet strategy, because what they want is to push out the laners in that 2v1 lane swap and get Snoy down really low, force Mundo to back off, and you look at the aggression coming in from Wins. He's definitely going to go in for that turret dive as soon as the minion wave push up. They do have that kind of minion coming in, but in the mid lane though, Noel just goes in onto the next ADC.
Right, so it won't be first blood going to TG, and now Wins is trying to respond to that, and Snoy now putting the exhaust onto Wins at the same time. Will he actually go down to the turret? He does, so Snoy will be able to pick up the kill onto Wins and blowing that double buff away in the process, and would that be the game-changing factor that Mineski will need to secure their early game? Is this the answer that they need? It does look like at this point of time, at least they will be able to kind of stop the aggression coming in from Wins, because he doesn't have the double buffs at this point of time.
Yeah, he does not have the double buffs. Definitely, and that dive kind of turned a little bit sour from the side of Azubu Taipei snipers. We saw God JJ just take some of the turret damage immediately, and Wins comes in to deal some damage, gets exhausted under the turret, and then the turret aggro killed God JJ. He got executed under the turret, and then the turret shifted aggro to Wins, and the exhaust kind of allowed him to take a few more turret shots, deal a little bit more damage, and take a little bit more damage from the turret, and he wasn't able to flash out in time.
Right, very skillfully done so as well, because in the lobby we saw for a fact that I thought he was going to go for that teleport flash Mundo, as we have seen most top laners do so, but instead switching up to the exhaust, and that effectively just punished Wins for his early game aggression, and having that one kill down his name as well, which means that he would have somewhat a slight goal advantage over Zonda at this point of time, as we have seen and he has got the boots as well. And this time Noel now assisting Snoy up in the top lane, and GodGG will actually be able to dash off with the Relentless Pursuit to try to avoid that flag spear combo.
That's right, and another gang in the mid lane coming in, but this time on the side of Win. So you were saying that Wins may be kind of put off from the aggression after losing that double buffs and giving a kill to Snoy in early game, but I trust in Wins, and knowing Wins will continue to gang no matter how far he's behind. That's the kind of jungler he is. He's a hyper-aggressive early game jungler, and it's actually up to Noel to kind of do that ganking or push that same aggression that Wins is kind of showing.
Right, and GodGG a mistake with the Relentless Chase and the Relentless Pursuit onto the lines of Mineski with Snoy and Noel up in the top lane. In most when we see the top laner, just two bruises up in the top lane, would say that the support actually have a small disadvantage, and now Zonda getting disengaged so quickly with the combination of the Flay and the Condemned as well, so they don't want any dealings with Zonda at this point of time.
Yeah, but the focus that Noel has actually put up in the top lane has allowed Mineski to kind of keep their outer turret slightly in a better position than what Azubu Taipei snipers have in the bot lane. If you actually look at the amount of turret damage that Mineski has done to that bot lane turret, one or two more waves should be able to take it down, but of course JJ as well as Mistake will not falter in the aggression, as well as they want to kind of push Snoy out of lane as fast as possible before he hits level 6, right, and just continue with that aggression.
And there's one more that is in Taipei Sniper's possession, will be able to spot out Noel as well. So it does look like Mineski might be able to take the first turret of the game off Taipei Snipers at this point in time, as Zonda just strikes away, and Set will pick that up for himself, but it does look like Snipers will be able to respond to that quickly, so it's a 1-for-1 turret trade. And Mineski now for the first time in 3 games having a quick early game goal advantage.
That's right, and if they rotate down to Dragon at this point of time, they will be kind of playing what Azubu Taipei snipers have been doing all the first 2 games. They take the bottom turret and then rotate to Dragon immediately and pick that extra global objective up. So Mineski kind of playing that buffet strategy that the Taipei snipers also like to play against their opponents, and that's kind of working well for them because they now have a slight gold advantage. That 200 gold advantage is now extended all the way up to about 700 gold.
Right, so the problem for them is that they need to hang on to this gold advantage like hounds and kind of build that up, as well as sometimes we do see Mineski, even though they do have that gold lead, they might just not know how to transit that into the mid lane, sorry, not mid lane, mid game effectively. But for Taipei snipers, they have been known to be the more flexible team in terms of response. So I want to see how Mineski will deal with this goal advantage they do have at this point in time. But meanwhile, taking a look at the laners, we do see TG now holding his own ground against next ABC, even though he did get ganked in the mid lane once and went down in the process as well.
I don't know, the burst damage coming out from a post 6 Syndra into her combo from Scatter the Weak into the stun as well as the Unleashed Power is quite scary, and it's something that Ziggs or next ABC may not have the kit to deal with, because the moment TG actually lands a stun onto you, you're pretty much dead.
And once again we see Wins, he might be moving down into the bottom lane, or should he choose to actually do some counter jungling over here? Does look like he is making his way down to the bottom lane, but there are some wards from Mineski to spot him out in the process as well. So they are pretty extended. There we go with the calling as well. Exo will have to flash out with that one, and the Mega in front of him will pick up the kill for next ABC there. And Wins in the process will pick up another kill. GodGG will be the one picking up another kill onto Set in the process. So all that early game aggression coming in from Mineski and the goal advantage will just be twisted around with that one decisive move from Taipei snipers as they make work onto this bottom.
This is very classic Taipei snipers, or at least very classic Wins on the side of TPS. What he'll do is that he'll just continue to gank the lane. The moment he sees any sort of chance for him to go in, he'll just take it, go in. They'll get a few kills, and Taipei snipers will just continue to take more objectives. So the objective game was kind of in Mineski's favor for the first 8 minutes, because they managed to take one turret and the dragon, giving them that slight 700 gold lead. But what happens is that TPS says, you can't play our game better than us. We know how to play this buffet strategy, and we'll continue to eat up the turrets, and do expect us to take the next dragon when it comes up. And not forgetting that mid lane outer turret is not going to survive for long. So a fight now breaks out in the jungle here at the bottom side.
Set just pulls himself way into an awkward position, and Wins will secure that kill for himself. And now Noel getting chased on all three members, and Wins now getting pushed back with some damn. And I guess Taipei Snipers, they are just contented with taking what was theirs and, you know, just backing off from there as well. And I was not too sure whether that was the right call for Set to pull himself way back into the enemy lines there. So 5-2 in terms of kill count in the favor of Taipei Snipers, 2-1 in terms of turret. And even though Mineski was able to pick up the dragon in the early process, they are still down by about 1.5 thousand gold.
Yeah, about 1,300, 1,400 gold in favor of Taipei Snipers. And it's very interesting because Set went in when he wasn't level 6 just yet. So if he was level 6, that could have been a very different fight, because he could have gone in, popped the box, and just pulled off that immense slow on attack speed as well as move speed coming in from what the box does. So that was an awkward decision indeed.
Yeah, very awkward decision. And I guess a lot of this hopes on Mineski now lies on the shoulders of Exo, because even though he had died once in the process, he is still maintaining his CS lead over God JJ at this point of time, having a good 22 CS lead, and hopefully that will translate into the Blade of the Ruined Kingsrune, and in that sense he'll be able to translate into the 15-minute mark more effectively than he wants to.
Yeah, and let's take, since you're talking about items, let's kind of take a look at the item pickups coming in from both teams. What we have here is that Wins having 1 and 3, we do have him come to the top lane right now, and Snow is in a bit of a trouble.
But we might see him go down the process, and a max range flash will get him out of trouble, but he has to burn that summoner stuff in the process. And now Mineski, they are the ones to group up early to try to pick out the top lane turret, mid lane turret. But in between both next ABC and Mistake here, they have a lot of area of effect control with the inner flame as well as the explosive minefield. So because of that, we might see Mineski pulling a futile attempt in the mid lane. And because of that, yeah, they are still choosing to stick around and wait for the next wave. And let's see how this will pan out for them.
But look what's going on in the bottom as well as top lanes. We have Zonda just kind of free farming in the top lane and pushing it as much as possible, or at least until a point where he feels that it's safe. And what's happening in the bottom lane is that God JJ just freezing the lane, not giving Exo any sort of farm at all, and he just wants to pick up that Bloodthirster as soon as possible.
I would say that's the 6-man strategy that Taipei Snipers want to pull off.
Maybe it's a 6-man strategy, but at least Mineski kind of goes in. We do have the Vault Breaker coming in.
Right, we have the Vault Breaker, and Noah has to back off with the Flag Spear combo. So at least he has that little mobility to get himself out of danger. And now TG, I think zoned out a little bit by Zonda there. It does look like Taipei Snipers want to respond to this group up attempt from Mineski here. And I think both teams are just waiting for the right position to go in for a small skirmish at least.
Yeah, the small skirmish should probably happen at around the Dragon Pit area, in which Mineski at this point of time has very good vision control around. So what we have here is that they are prepared to fight any sort of fight in the river around Dragon, but Taipei Snipers will be, I would say they're just going to stack 5 men and try to do as much damage as possible as well.
Well, that was a very impressive 4-man scan of the week as well to lock them down into place, but unfortunately Mineski was not able to kind of respond to that. It does look like Mineski, they will look to move to the Dragon once again, and the changes in the 3.14 patch with regards to Dragon would encourage the weaker team to just kind of contest for Dragon, as we do see Mineski, they are the somewhat weaker team at this point of time, having that 1k disadvantage. And there we go now with the engage. Now Witz might be the one in trouble here. The assault and battery will go down. Noel will pick that out in the meantime. And the rest of Mineski slowly collapsing onto Taipei Snipers. PG picks up the kill to Zonda, and now we see the mobility coming into play. And there we go. PG now having to flash away from the sidelines of Taipei Snipers. So at this point of time, a 3-for-2 exchange. It does look like God JJ will not be able to secure the kill. Oh, will he? Yes, he does. Moving into the way with the Relentless Pursuit. So overall, a 4-for-2 exchange. But nevertheless, Mineski picking up the Dragon in the meantime, but losing 4 members in the process.
Yeah, what happened in that Dragon fight itself, they do pick up the Dragon. We will be going to replay, so let's take a look at what happened during that Dragon fight. So here we have that Mega Inferno Bomb come in. Wins will get hooked up and then he will get played inside. He does flash away and the Flag Spell combo will come up from nowhere to try to get onto next ABC. Actually, it's the Cataclysm that comes out. Exo will flash in as well and then he will be trapped in that Cataclysm and he has to force to tumble away. But in the meantime, we actually have Set, Snore as well as TG get taken down extremely low from that Mega Inferno Bomb earlier, and now Set will just go down. Look at the way that Mystic uses that Inspire as well as Speed Up. God JJ cleanses away any sort of slow, uses Inspire to speed up. Once again, Relentless Pursuit just to close the gap.
And it's a very scary situation to face up against Mystic at this point of time because he has completed the Talisman of Ascension already, and like you mentioned earlier with the Mantra, the E coming in as well, so he will be able to just speed boost his team up to move right into the fray and having that flexibility as well. And now Noel meets up with next ABC, not too sure if that's the position where he wants to find himself in, and the Mega Inferno Bomb will finish him off, and next ABC is on a rampage.
That's right, but I do have to give a lot of credit to Mineski at this point of time because they are not allowing Azubu Taipei snipers to play the game that they want to play. But as I say that, it seems that Mineski are in the back foot. We do have Azubu Taipei snipers just kill off 2 of their members, their jungler as well as their mid laner, and then they will go on for their buffet strategy and try to take as many turrets off those few kills.
Right, so they kind of lost their footing in the early part of the game, especially in the first 8 minutes, but it does look like with the control that they have regained back, they will just continue to press onto the aggression. And look at the amount of damage that Set was taking and going out, getting pushed right back into the fray with the Satchel Charge as well. Now God JJ will secure the kill, and he's on an unstoppable streak. And right now with the Blood System being completed, that is a very, very painful Lucian to deal with.
Yeah, that is very painful indeed. So as I said, Mineski, I do still have to commend them that they slowed down Azubu Taipei Snipers game. We usually see, or at least the pattern has been in the first 2 games, that by 17 minutes, Azubu Taipei Snipers will be knocking on the door of Mineski's base. But right now, they only have 4 turrets in their hands. The only lane that has been taken out all the way to the inner turret is the mid lane, which they just took from those 2 kills. But nevertheless, Azubu Taipei Sniper showing why that they have kind of perfected this objective eating strategy. This buffet will definitely continue to go on for them, and Mineski really needs to take some objectives back so as to not fall behind that global goal. Currently, the Azubu Taipei Snipers have about a 5,500 gold lead, and this Mega Inferno Bomb will just clear off any sort of aggression onto the mid lane itself. So
right, in a timely manner as well, they needed to stop the siege that Mineski was putting onto their turret, and they'll just allow them some breathing space. But with everyone backing into the base already, would Mineski actually choose to continue to press on? They have an incoming wave.
I don't know, they should be able to kind of respond to this push coming in. We do have the wave clear coming from God JJ. Wins will be on the side to measure of any sort of aggression. He does go into assault battery.
Right, and the assault battery as well. TG will come into the fray and with the calling as well, putting in a whole lot of hurt onto TG. Then now Exo trying to juke in and out of the way with the final and the tumble as well. But with 3 members on the pursuit onto him, does look like he will not be able to do so. And in the meantime, God JJ together with the duo of Mistake will be able to take out Set in the meanwhile. So they come out on top of that siege, and with a 3-for-0 exchange, once again, it does look like they might want to move their way to Baron.
They may just want to move their way to Baron indeed. And what happened there is that we saw the aggression coming from Mineski. They said, okay, we need to alleviate some pressure in the mid lane. The mid lane has been a focus for the Azubu Taipei Snipers in their last push. So we need to counter push that, try to pick up a turret. And what the Azubu Taipei Snipers said is that, okay, we've got the speed boost, we've got the wave clear, and we've got the initiate coming from Wind. They flanked around, went from the side, Winds came down from the bottom side of the map and just did it. So let's take a look at the replay for that fight.
So walk me through it, Wolf.
Yeah, that's right. So you saw Winds actually, he came already from the flank, but look at the flank in from Zonda. He'll go in, lead strike in, lock up 3 members, and then that was basically just it. Exo got chased down by Zonda, Winds, and next ABC. Got JJ and Mistake, just chased down C3D and just ended that fight in itself.
Right, and it is a very much calculated move coming in from Taipei Snipers as well. And I have to say, this support karma has been working out pretty well for Mistake at this point of time. And I think this might be some practice for himself as well if they are able to quickly secure this game for themselves into the semi-final stages if they face up against AHQ Esports Cloud.
It's quite something, or at least a message that TPS is trying to put off. If they're able to take this game like pre-25 minutes or somewhere around that time, it just shows that they have been doing a very dominating performance. And look at Mistake actually just going all in to just clear out that pink wall because he knows that he has the backup from Wins as well as got JJ in that lane itself. So having that Baron buff, they are definitely going to rotate down. Once again, it's going to be very standard. All 5 members are going to go down to one objective, take out that objective, possibly get a few kills out of that. And if you actually allow Azubu Taipei snipers to take a few kills, it means that they can take more objectives.
Right, and got JJ at this point of time finishing up the static shift as well. So he will be able to forcefully shove the lane out even more effectively than he has now with the engagement. There we go. Noel jumping into the fray, and Noel with the Cataclysm will lock effectively a few members on the side of Taipei snipers. Now Exo has to run for his life there, and there we go with the Assault and Battery will knock everyone back. Exo still keeping alive in this one, but nevertheless now with Taipei snipers, everyone chasing onto them and storing out being alive not for too much longer. Does look like Taipei snipers almost got a space out of that one, and with the only member going down, which is Vince.
That's right, and TG was so extremely low, he himself cannot do anything to these 4 champions. And like I said, if you give Azubu Taipei snipers any sort of kills, they're not just going to take one objective, but they're going to take many more in succession.
That's right, they know for the fact that they just want to push onto this, and now Zonda jumping right into the frame with the counter strike. That looks like he wants to take out Set in the process, and now Zonda will be backing off from that. But in the meantime, Taipei snipers, the entire squad of them will take out the bottom inhibitor. And as they look to turn their focus, they're playing this on Dragon at this point of time. Would they choose to take it? Or it does look like they might want to seem to take away the red buff first.
Yeah, they're just going to go back. I'm pretty sure they have a lot of gold in their pocket at this point in time. We'll see a replay of that. I want to point out something. Look at Mistake. He used the Inspire as well, the mantra Inspire, just to dodge away any sort of engage coming in, as well as the flash from God JJ. So they immediately break away. And look at the position of Snoy, C3D, TG, and Exo. The Mega Inferno Bomb will come in and then hit just a few of the members, taking them down to quite low. And immediately after that, Mineski is completely on the back foot. The Inspire will be used once again just to speed up Wins to get onto Exo, and that's just basically it. Zonda coming from the side for a simple cleanup, gets the counter strike off onto Exo and Snoy, and that's basically just it.
Right, as we jump right back into the play of this one, now we do see Mistake getting jumped on, but having that Crucible, he will be able to cleanse himself back up, and having the extra health to kind of survive the damage from Unleash Power as well. So very unfortunate turn of events for TG. They're not being able to secure the kill, and it's just a sign of how ahead that Taipei snipers are in this game.
And speaking about how far ahead they are, look at the items coming in. The only one that's actually been keeping up in terms of items, in my opinion, is actually Snoy. Snoy has the Sunfire's Cape as well as that Spirit Visage as compared to the Trinity Force and an almost completed Blade of Ruin King. But on the side of the Taipei snipers, the Randuin's Omen already being picked up by Wins. On the Noel doesn't really have any sort of main item coming in from his jungle jargon. What we have from next ABC is the Death Cap already completed, as well as another Needless D Large Rod, compared to only the Needless D Large Rod, as well as the Teats Unholy Grail on the side of TG. So what TPS has is just the extreme goal advantage as well as item advantage. And usually when it's like 23 minutes or so into the game and you have a 6 turret advantage, and one of those turrets is an inhibitor turret, that kind of spells a lot of trouble for any of the opposing team. And look at the flank coming in from Azubu Taipei snipers.
Right, Wins jumping into the frame with the Assault and Battery, and that was a quick meltdown, and God JJ secures that kill for himself. It does look like with 4 members remaining on the side of Mineski, Taipei snipers will just quickly group out for this one, and it's a 4-1 split push attempt, but with so much raw power that Taipei snipers have at this point of time, they will be able to do so. And God JJ putting on some hurt onto Set, and it does look like Snoy will be hammering away with the corporate files, but not going to be able to do much to try to deter away Taipei snipers at this point of time.
That's right, they can't really deter Taipei snipers at all, and Zonda's just going to take down that final inner turret on the side of snipers.
Now we do see Noel jumping into the fray with the Cataclysm, but quickly dodged out by Mistake in the meantime. And now Mistake gets caught with the Death Sentence, and Zonda decides to jump into the fray, but I'm not too sure if that's the right decision to do. But in the meantime, Taipei Snipers will take out the mid lane inhibitor, and they will be contented with that.
Oh my goodness, 4 walls over the wall, and they can't even clear it out with the sweeping lens at all at this point of time. So I don't know, because every time the well engages, you do realize something. Mystic has that inspired mantra. I don't know what you want to call it. The mantra inspire, or
Inspired mantra.
inspired mantra? Sure.
Mantra inspired.
The mantra inspired, whatever it is, just to disengage any sort of fight and just put them in a better position.
And now Zonda jumping into the fray, and he has to back off because actually Snoy taking a good amount of damage onto him, but he already has the weight buff to take off
Onto
Exo,
Exo,
Exo
that's right.
the meantime, and there we go now. It's gonna be the last inhibitor standing in the way, and Taipei Snipers looks like they will be able to take out game number 3 with smooth fashion as well, as the super minions will be pounded in on the Nexus turrets, and it's gonna be GG well played. Game number 3 in the favor of Taipei Snipers, and they will be moving on